At Direct Service Overhead, we know how much trust you put in the individuals who have the privilege of working on the components of your home. We understand that a broken garage door is the last thing you want to be worried about, and most of the time, doors break at the most inconvenient times. Our professionally trained technicians service 24 hours a day, and our high-cycle parts are guaranteed to make a noticeable impact on your garage door without putting a damper on your wallet. If you're looking for need of assistance maintaining your current garage door, our team has the experience and expertise to deliver the results you deserve. Give Direct Service Overhead a call today or visit us online to learn more.
Oh, all right. This is brutal. 3, 2, 1. You know what? I just realized I have no idea what my hair looks like. Oh, Lord. That's what it looks like. I just threw my shirt on. My hair looks like how Arkansas played today. Hang on. I didn't get the studio light here. We're just going to move you over there. Oh, gosh. Stupid chair. Yeah, there we go. Everyone's frustrated, rightfully so. So we're gonna try and get through this thing together. We've been here before. It's just been a while. We've been here before. It's been a minute, and it's not a good feeling, not at all. I don't have to tell you guys that. It's did not see Arkansas getting that. I don't know what you want to call what that was. I didn't think they were going to get ran over by a Greyhound bus. I'll say that. Not at all real thrilled with what I saw. Georgia clearly a NFL team. Probably about, I don't know, 16 of their starters probably going to get drafted in the next 2-3 draft classes. I mean, they're just that's how you get worked. That's how you get worked right there. You want to know how you get worked in being a top 10 team. I mean, I'll just say it. Is Arkansas a top 10 team? No. Did they deserve to be there considering their body of work, who they've beaten versus who other people have played and what they looked like and the eye test and all that stuff? Sure. But we see now why it turns out Vegas just underestimated Georgia and completely overestimated the game itself. That was tough to watch. I told you guys, and someone said in the Friday show, Ty, you don't give Arkansas any chance, or come on, man, they're 4-0. What more do you need to see? Dude, this is what I was concerned about. No, I did not see Arkansas getting shellacked like that. I didn't see them getting pulled apart like they did. This was I'm not going to say it was a shock, because Georgia, I think, has made the case that they probably should be the number one team in the country. It just kind of depends on what happens between Alabama and Ole Miss. In terms of what Alabama is, what they do, the physicality that they play with, I don't think you see another Georgia. Now, you see a Bama, and that's not any easier, but you're not going to see another Georgia in those terms. I'm not thrilled that this was never, Arkansas never even got off the freaking bus, man. I mean, they never got off the bus. They looked completely ill-prepared. Once again, first and third down play calling, just abysmal. Terrible. Now, some of that is also based on what Georgia was doing as a defense, what they were showing Kendall and KJ. You guys in Discord, look, man, calling for people's jobs, dude, put the bottle down. Like, Georgia, you have to understand, is way up here. Kirby Smart has those guys established. You're talking about top 3 recruiting every single year. Compare that to Arkansas's. Yeah, a couple of times they've made the top 25 in the last 5 years. There is a difference in coaching pedigree and player pedigree on the field, and we saw it. And then you add in the fact that you walked in very similar to Texas, minus the rivalry and the history, but walked into what Texas walked into in Fayetteville. Fayetteville was sick and tired of being underestimated, sick and tired of Texas, tired of the talk. It's a rivalry game. We were pumped up for it, and we demolished Texas. The Hogs destroyed Texas. Arkansas has been the darling. They've been media darlings all week. They were the Cinderella. Everyone's talking about Arkansas. If you don't think that didn't crawl under Kirby Smart's skin, that coaching staff, those players, if you don't think they were prepping them up for this game just for that reason, then I don't know that you've ever played contact sports in your life. I don't know if you've ever been a part of a team, because when you hear about the other team so much all week, how they could make this into a game, I don't think no one realistically was calling them to win. But they were sick and tired, talking about Arkansas's chances to win. No one was giving them that. But sick and tired of hearing about the other guys. If you don't think that played a factor with the crowd, with the coaching staff, with the players on and off the field, then, again, you've never played sports. Like, that was a big game for them. It was a top 10 game, top 10 team. Not that they haven't been in this situation before. Georgia's Georgia, man. I mean, they play for the SEC championship over there. That's what they play for. Arkansas is just now getting warmed up to the idea that, you know what, maybe we are capable of doing more than just making it to a bowl game this year. Like, that's where Arkansas's at. Again, does Arkansas deserve to be top 10 based on the body of work? Absolutely. Were they really a top 10, top 15 team? No. If, and again, you have to consider the other circumstances. Those things matter. I completely expect some people to rip me up after this. I really don't give a shit. Georgia is clearly just on another level. Arkansas is they're still trying to paddle their boat. Like, they're still trying to get things figured out, right? It doesn't take away what they've done. I don't think it takes away who they are. And I think they are absolutely still capable of winning 8 games this year. As my preseason pick at 8-4. The penalties were inexcusable. Crowd noise played a factor, but they never got those cleaned up. What'd they end up with? Like 13. It was similar to Rice. I said that in our Discord. It was like the first half Rice game, only you substitute out Rice with Georgia. That was the kind of performance that Arkansas was giving in the first half. You have to give Georgia credit. I told you guys, they've got 3 first-round draft picks in their front 7. That's big boy football. Arkansas's not there. Not in terms of talent, not in terms of what they have to offer. Bama's going to be tough. Ole Miss is going to be tough. Again, 8-4 is going to be tough to reach, but I think they can get there. We've seen them respond really well. You look at last year, how they opened up against Georgia. Second half, Stetson came in, tore them up, threw for north of 200 yards, just destroyed that defense. And Arkansas responded the next week and looked pretty good. I do think, to an extent, it felt like this was the first time I've really kind of seen them let go of the rope a little bit. I did see a little bit of that. But they were still working. They were still working hard. I don't know that you didn't really see anyone hanging their heads. I mean, you did when ESPN wanted to show the sidelines. You saw KJ and a couple of guys just clearly looked like they were ready to pack up and leave, and rightfully so. But I don't know that, you still saw people on defense making effort and doing their best. I saw Ridgeway made some nice plays. But, guys, this is, again, I don't know that you see another Georgia this year. Alabama's great, and maybe Alabama beats Arkansas worse. I don't know, but again, in terms of what Georgia is, their identity as a football team on both sides of the field, the physicality that they play with, the momentum that they're playing with, right now, Georgia clearly, to me, looks like the best team in the country. Maybe Alabama changes my mind today. I don't know. We haven't seen them play yet today, so maybe, nothing's concrete until the end of the year, and I fully expect Alabama and Georgia to play each other in the SEC championship. KJ was lost. He could not dissect Georgia's defense, and to be fair, I think this was one of the worst called games by Kendall Briles that I have ever seen. I don't know, man. It's, again, his first down play calling is so – me and Alex and I, my neighbor, we were eating some KFC, a bucket of KFC chicken and mashed potatoes and having a good time until, the game started. But he and I were talking about it. You could just predict every first down. Run, 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 run. That's it. Run, 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 run. We're not going to do anything else. We're not going to try any sideline throws. We're not going to try and, maybe dial up some crossing routes, try to figure out the passing game a little bit. We're just going to stay predictable. Hell, they said it, ESPN, these guys are calling it. They're calling it. This is predictable. I mean, I'm not saying Kendall Briles is a trash coordinator. By the way, if you think that, then I guess you don't think Sam Pittman did a good job of hiring an offense coordinator. I think Kendall just was exposed today. I think it was clear that Georgia's talent level is on another level. It's to the moon. It's to Mars, man. It's, and Arkansas still trying to figure things out. And when KJ did have to throw, or when they did try to throw the ball downfield, he couldn't dissect the defense quick enough. He held onto the ball. He got sacked. A couple of those, I think one of those 2 sacks were coverage sacks. The offensive line, they lost in the trenches. Just the mental mistakes. Special teams, once again, week after week after week after week, continue to have gaffes. But this time it was everybody, not just special teams. It was everybody just struggling. And preparation this week, I don't know what they did to prep for Georgia. Again, I don't know how do you simulate what Georgia does on defense? I mean, they run a pretty identical defense, but how do you simulate what they do? Arkansas doesn't have those guys. Yeah, Arkansas has Grant Morgan, Bumper Pool, Henry, Catalon, and Trey Williams has been good. Ridgeway's been good, but these are not first-round caliber players on the field for Arkansas on defense. They're not. They're good. They're great playmakers. Catalon is a difference maker of a safety. Might be drafted pretty high. But the talent level you cannot simulate. I don't know how the hell you prepare for Georgia like that. And then on top of that, I don't know what the game plan was for JT Daniels and Stetson Bennett. Were they preparing all week for a pocket passing quarterback? Because you go back to that third down run by Stetson Bennett early in the game, nobody was outside the pocket, or no one was out in the flats. Nobody was spying. Nobody was out there on zone coverage to keep him from not that it matters, but not to keep him from running for that first down on a third down which was a designed pass play. No one was there. No bumper pull, no Morgan, Fouché, no one on that side of the field was there. So it makes you wonder, was that just man coverage and you know, the play just happened to take everybody away from that side of the field? Why was there no one there on Stetson Bennett? And that makes me wonder, did they game plan for JT Daniels all week? I thought we were going to see JT Daniels today. We didn't. And we saw how Kirby Smart used that to his advantage. We've talked about that before, about how coaches do that. It's a tactic. I think maybe it worked a little bit. I wonder if Arkansas prepped for something else entirely. I don't know. Sam will tell us today in his postgame. Hopefully, maybe Monday we'll get a little bit more out of him if he doesn't give us enough today. I don't know what they did all week. This is the most ill-prepared I have seen them since – I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know the second half of the season last year things got pretty rough. You know, injuries and, again, Corona and things like that. I mean, it was what it was. This year, what's your excuse? Like, what the hell happened in this game? I mean, George, again, talked about the crowd, talked about, walking into a very electric environment, 95,000 people. I mean, they're tired of hearing about the Cinderella story that is the Razorbacks. I get that. Georgia's a great team. Certainly look like a playoff caliber team right now. They certainly look that way. And I think they are. But, I mean, how do you excuse the play calling, the game planning, the mistakes, all the mistakes? Like, it was like there was no effort to clean up the mistakes. There was no effort to change things up a little bit in the second half. Defensive adjustments in the second half, I would have to argue, the first time since Odom's been the defensive coordinator where, your thought is, why are we still lining up with a three-man front? Like, they are running the ball 6 yards a carry right in between the center and guard. They're not even trying to run to the outside because they didn't have to. When they did, they got stopped. I'll give them credit there. Arkansas did a good job in the East-West run game. But the North-South, it seemed like there was no attempt to fix that. Some of it probably is just Georgia's will, their will, their dedication to the run, and it's hard to stop. And I think Arkansas, I mean, they were lost, but at times you still knew what was coming, and they couldn't stop Georgia. And that's the other thing. You can't prepare for that. Georgia, again, clearly stockpiling talent on the line of scrimmage. It was just ugly. It was ugly. Arkansas is a joke. Okay. Go Dogs. Pure class, Snow Bunny. Pure class. It was bad. It was not what. Shut up and go back to your OnlyFans. Arkansas is a fraud. I don't know if that's just a disgruntled Texas fan or a Razorback fan that needs to step away from the ledge. I'm not really sure. I gave Georgia fans a lot of credit this week. Don't make me take it back. Take every insult Georgia fans throw at us. They earned it. We sucked donkey. I mean, they were better. They were the better team for sure. Hopefully these will help Arkansas grow. They're going to have to learn from all their mistakes today. They're one of the most penalized teams in the SEC, and that's got to come to a stop. You're not winning. You're not going 8-4 if you don't clean up these mistakes. They're not turning the ball over. Knock on wood. They're not turning the ball over. I mean, they're doing better in that department. I don't know what's up with the defense not getting more takeaways at this point. I don't know where the takeaways are from the defense. I don't know what's going on there. But Arkansas's not turning the ball over a lot on offense. There's just too many flags. That's a Texas fan. Snowbuddy must be a Texas fan. We'll just yeah. We'll just do that. Let's see. Can't have over 100 yards and penalties. It's just a bad game. I mean, it was a combination of a lot of things. Georgia had clearly pumped up for this game. It didn't look to me like Arkansas ever even stepped off the bus. But, again, you have to give Georgia credit. They outplayed Arkansas, and it wasn't even close. Arkansas still – I think it's still a rebuild. It's still a rebuild. I mean, you don't fix what was wrong at Arkansas in a season. You don't fix all the issues, the end of the Bielema era and 2 years of Chad Morris. You don't fix that all in a year and all of a sudden expect to stay in the top 10. I mean, they're a top 25 caliber team, but I mean, maybe now if you have a similar performance against Ole Miss, you're going to get shellacked, I think. We don't know about the health. I don't know if anyone got hurt. Obviously we'll have to wait till Monday to kind of go over the injuries. I haven't read anything yet. Going over the numbers, yeah, I mean, Stetson Bennett threw the ball 11 times, 7 of 11, 72 yards, and that's going to show up on the stat sheet. Like when you look back at the end of the year, if teams only have to do that, if teams only have to throw the ball 11 times, but they can run for almost 300 yards a game, and they haven't. No one's done that to Arkansas's defense yet this year, but if you look back, it's going to look good, right? Oh, look at that. We only gave up 72 yards to Georgia. Our secondary is elite. No, you need to open up the whole box score. They ran the ball 56 times, they averaged nearly 5 yards a carry, 273 yards on the ground. Their longest run from line of scrimmage is 24, but they had 3 rushing touchdowns. They didn't have to do anything through the air. Ladd McConkey, 3 catches, 27 yards. Kenny McIntosh had a catch for 27. Little missed his first field goal of the year. That's unfortunate. Obviously, you don't get any points on the board, and he misses his first field goal. KJ Jefferson threw the ball 13 times, only 65 yards. Malik Hornsby came in. I got to say, what little we saw of him, he looked a little better other than the fumble. He put the ball back on the ground. That kid's got some ball control issues. 2 of 3, 22 yards for him through the air. Not a single Razorback ran for over 5 yards a carry. A.J. Green got the ball 6 times, 28 yards. Raheem Sanders, 6 for 21. It looked like there for a little bit Raheem Sanders was going to take things over. It looked like Raheem Sanders was going to get it going, and then he just didn't. Malik Hornsby ended up carrying the ball 4 times for 11 yards. Dominic Johnson, who's kind of been a surprise the last 2 weeks, his role in this offense is diminishing. He had 2 carries for 6 yards, just 2 carries. I think he had, 4 last week, I think. KJ Jefferson, 8 carries for 5 yards, just pure dominance by Georgia. 29 carries, 75 yards, 2.6 yards a carry. Your longest play from line of scrimmage was 14 yards, and that was, of course, by KJ Jefferson. Warren Thompson, 2 catches, 12 yards. Treylon Burks, 3 catches for a whopping 10 yards. I'm sorry, the longest I forgot. Raheem Sanders had the 22-yard throw or the catch turned into a 22-yard catch. And then John David White, while I was in here getting set up, I just realized he had that 19 and Kern had the 18-yard catch. Kern did have a drop. A.J. Green returned a couple of kicks, which was interesting. Haven't seen that yet this year. He had 7.5 yards of return. 15 yards. Nathan Perotti, I think this was the first double-digit punt return Arkansas has had all year. Georgia, you might want to check your punt coverage, okay? You might have a problem. If Arkansas got 10 yards on their punt return by Nathan fifth-string safety Perotti, you might have an issue because that is the longest punt return. I'm pretty sure. Someone double-checked me on that. That is the longest punt return they've had as Fountain as the special teams coordinator. Block punts, starting your offense off behind your 15-yard line because of a special teams blunder. Multiple, I think they had was it 2 flags on special teams today? You had one on a single play. Arkansas got called for 3 flags. They had 3 flags on a single play. The mistakes in this game were unbelievable. Reed Bauer, who honestly, I mean, you don't put the block punt on him. It's obviously on, you put that on what was going on up front. Georgia just beat them. But Reed Bauer did have a good game. He had 53 yards on one punt, which I think that's his second longest punt on the year, maybe third. It's in there somewhere, and they pinned him back inside the 20 at least 3 times, which that's nice to see. But, Georgia, you might want to do something about your punt coverage if you're giving up a 10-yarder to Arkansas. Shaheed Mustafa, Kirby had this team extra focused this week by saying Arkansas is not the same team from last year. He did. He made that very clear, and beat them even worse. Well, we got a lot of bots, or I don't know what these people are, but we're just gonna. I'm gonna have to get some more moderators. Play calling was super vanilla. I would say play calling was pretty bad. Play calling was just not good on offense. It was probably one of the worst games. That was an ass whooping, to say the least. Hope the Hogs bounce back. Tough road. Gauntlet. I heard them say it doesn't get any easier. The hell it doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy. It's obviously going to be hard. The gauntlet is real. This is why the SEC West is far more difficult than anybody else. I know Georgia plays in the East, but Arkansas just had to get by A&M, who I think is still a top 25 team. I guess we'll find out soon, but I would argue they're a quality opponent. You've got Ole Miss coming up. You've got Auburn coming up. It doesn't get easy, but it doesn't get harder, right? Again, I don't think Arkansas plays another what they play today. They don't play another Georgia. Bama's good. I'm not going to take that away from Georgia or take that away from Bama. I'm not saying that at all. And who knows about Ole Miss? Ole Miss maybe they make a game out of it against Bama today. Hell, maybe they win. Who knows what the hell happens today? But it is going to be a tough road. But to say that it doesn't get any easier, you're not playing another Georgia. We were outmatched on the line and penalties. Exactly right. I agree with that. $500,000 per year for for a bad special teams coordinator. Kern is regressing from last year. Georgia is legit. Why didn't we kick a field goal? Still proud of my Hogs. We'll be top 15. He says. Mr. T-Dub thinks he'll be 14th. Oh boy. We all knew the Hogs needed a full tank to win, and this is the other thing. Man, they just got out of a pretty physical game with A&M. I don't think we gave that game enough credit. Even though Arkansas, again, you lost KJ for the second half. Did his injury have anything to do with what happened today? I don't know that it did. We didn't hear anyone talk about it. He looked fine when he ran, but you just got out of a bout with A&M. You did not come out of that game unscathed. Treylon Burks came out of that game hurt. KJ Jefferson missed some time because of an injury. That was a tough game. Like, that's when you talk about the grind week to week in the SEC. It's not just about the wins and losses. It's about getting out of those games unscathed and healthy. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean guys that miss time. You still have guys that are playing through injuries. Remember, Bumper Pool played 70% of the year with broken ribs, right? The physicality of these teams matter. Who did Georgia play a week ago, right? They played Vanderbilt and whooped the hell out of Vanderbilt. I would argue that the games that these two teams came out of, Georgia had an advantage there. It's not like they played someone that physical like Texas A&M. I would say Texas A&M, even though they were clearly overrated, still one of the most physical teams in the SEC. Now, they may go on and, like I said, I think they're 8-4. A&M looks like an 8-4 team, maybe 9-3, 7-5. They don't look like what they did last year, right? They clearly have taken a step back, and Kellen Mond not being there is a big part of that. But we have to remember that now you just played another really physical team in Georgia. How healthy does Arkansas? And that's the point that I'm making. You're playing these tough physical opponents week to week, and it starts to take a toll on the health of these guys, even the guys who are getting cleared to play. That's something you got to play through, and it's one of the reasons why I put Arkansas at 8-4, and I had a lot of coin flips in there, a lot of I don't know how this game's going to turn out. Georgia's selling pigskin. Okay. We don't have a bye until after UAPB game. KJ looked sluggish and slow running and moving today. I don't think he looked anything like he doesn't look anything like he did against Texas. I don't see us leaving this game behind Ty, and it sucks because now we probably fall to 6-6. I don't know. Health matters. How healthy you are and putting this game behind you is what matters. They did a good job of that last year. They really did. They did a good job last year of putting these things behind them. Kirby had his team ready, and I didn't and I didn't says Sam Pittman. Oh, is that what he said? Okay. No, you did not have your third string after the first quarter. That is the dumbest thing I've read. They did not have their third string in. Oh, Georgia fans. Play calling was shit, says Frederick Clemens. Brock G. Play calling was bad because we were in the hole on every play. You're playing behind the sticks. You're playing behind, all these mistakes that this team made today is just unreal. Again, you were 3 of 12 on third down. Arkansas's got to be one of the worst third down offenses in the SEC. It's crazy because they're one of the best rushing offenses in the SEC. They're one of the best rushing teams in the country. And typically you wouldn't believe that their third down offense would be so inadequate, but it is. It has been all year. 162 total yards of offense compared to Georgia's 345. Arkansas did lead in passing, but that's only because Georgia didn't have to throw the ball. Arkansas had 87 yards on 16 attempts. Georgia with 72 on 11 attempts. Yards per pass, Arkansas just 5 to Georgia's 6. That is way down compared to other games. 13 penalties for 101 yards. Compare that to Georgia's 6 for 40. No turnovers in the game, but it sure felt like there were about 6. Or just about every drive was a turnover. Yeah, offensively, they weren't I still don't know what they did during install this week. I don't know what happened. And I guess Sam said I just didn't have my guys ready. Well, yeah, I mean, that's clearly the case. They weren't ready. Georgia whooped them on every level. I think we can win LSU and Auburn and Mississippi State. Special teams is a F. Offense a D-. Defense was a C. Not going to beat number 2 or number 22. Play calling was questionable, says Patrick Smith. Yeah, Georgia's again, they're far more established. Like you got to tip your cap, man. They played great. They clearly were up for this game. They were clearly this, and that's the question too. Was this game just too big for Arkansas? Were they used to being in the spotlight like that? It's the first time they've been top 10 since 2012. Of course, that came to a grinding halt with losing to Louisiana Monroe. Play calling was bad, but the players have to execute. Play calling is directly related to situation, and we had bad situations 90% of the time. Ty, what about our lack of discipline? Every week we have a copious amounts of penalties and mistakes. Sam Pittman's approach is not to yell at his guys. I don't know. Do you change that up this week? Not that he doesn't yell at his guys. He does, but, he has a different approach to coaching. Look, it's been, it's you're 4-0. Like this is your first real test. Look, this is also your first road test. This was truly A&M is a mutual site game. You don't have 95,000 people down in Arlington, 90% of which are screaming against you and at you. I mean, this was their first true road test. Again, the question's going to be how the hell do they respond going into this to this next week. I would say we have a better chance against Ole Miss any day, in my opinion. I mean, we'll see. It's all about how you respond. Hey, all I want now is to end the streak with Mizzou. You got one streak down. The A&M streak is gone. All the unpaid armchair coaches coming out. This was our first real hostile road game. Our guys were not ready for this kind of crowd. Or this kind of team, says Mike and Mary Hoggard. Tripp says this sucks. It does suck. Ole Miss defense won't be able to stop us, says Noah Karp. You know what? Just here, just enjoy a little. I love putting people in timeout. I rarely do it, but it's starting to get a little fun. It's funny. Flapping your jaws after where you been all week? Like, where were Georgia fans in the they don't come out until after the game, right? Like they're cocky after it happens. Like you got to be cocky before and after if you're going to be cocky. But then again, I mean, they earned the right. They absolutely earned the right. I mean, they did. They stomped a mud hole in Arkansas. I mean, they Arkansas. I think what's most disappointing about this game, though, for me is not being in the spotlight anymore. Kind of sucks. You know, you had that one just great week. You know, because after Texas, the rhetoric was, well, Texas is not a good football team. Are they losing? Did they lose to TCU? I haven't checked up on that score. I was going to give us a score update. I'll do that here in just a second. But it sucks because you know how much of an advantage that is for recruiting, and you didn't respond, right? Or at least you didn't at least make a game of it, in a game where, you know, look, the line, the spread, what did it fall to today? 16? I mean, clearly Vegas was out of their league in this one. And it just sucks. It sucks that you couldn't beat the spread. You never showed up on offense. Defense couldn't wrap up. A lot of misreads on both sides of the ball by Kendall, by KJ, by linebackers on defense. Just a lot of foul ups through this game. And it's just, I don't know. It sucks, man, because you like being in that spotlight. Arkansas fans, look, I mean, baseball, great, right? Georgia's not even on the map when it comes to baseball. All right, look at basketball, like where Arkansas is going and where they've been compared to Georgia. Like, this is the one sport where Arkansas fans, though, deserve to at least have a moment in the spotlight, you know, like 15 seconds of fame. You were there and you were hoping that it's not a mistake, that you belong in the top 10. You were hoping for that. Even though a lot of people that I talked to were skeptical that Arkansas belonged in the top 10, again, I picked Georgia to win this game. I did not have them winning by this margin, but I did have them winning this ball game. And I said Friday it could be a blowout. We really don't know what we're in for, and it depends on how Georgia's, you know, that environment inside that stadium, how those people react, how coached up this team is for this game. They're sick and tired of hearing about Arkansas. All these things matter. But it's like you wanted Arkansas to come out and at least look like you belong on the same field, that you belong in the same at least zip code as Georgia, and you don't. You just don't. That is the fact of the matter. Look, it just is what it is. It felt like more of what we've seen for the last few years. Even though last year was great improvement, but it still felt like something you would expect to have happened last year. And the reality is you are far better than where you've been the last 3 or 4 years, but it just felt like more of what we've seen during those bad years. And again, you tip the cap to Georgia. You hope that Arkansas responds to Ole Miss. Are getting ready for this next matchup and come out as unscathed as humanly possible against someone like Georgia and just go out and play the rest of your schedule. See how it all falls apart. Our Discord was absolutely having a meltdown today, and that's expected. I think a lot of people were really upset that Arkansas isn't a top 10 caliber team. I think a lot of people were pretty upset about that, and that's it's warranted. I get it. I get it. You know, I wanted Arkansas to be in there too, but you know, when you start calling for coaches' heads after a loss, man, I could understand if we'd seen this every single week where they look something similar to this every week. The truth is they haven't. They really haven't. It was their first true road test. They didn't pass it. They failed it. Now let's see how they respond on their next test. And they're about to play one of the best offenses in the country next week. Let's see how they respond. We know what they did last year. So, what? Oh, my God, Ty, you're right. The season is over. Hogs should just give up. James, it's okay to criticize your team. I promise, my man. It's okay. Maybe you need to wait and let me finish before you have some sort of bullshit reaction. Well, for 30 years, I've been a fan, and that will never change. And though I get mad, but again, go Hogs. We were not right from opening kick. I'm not saying we should have won, but we are better than when we played today. I agree with that 110%. They are far better than what they played today. Please don't listen to any rude Georgia trolls. They don't represent us. We love Sam Pittman, and we respect your team. You guys are on the right track. See, now this is what I'm talking about. This has been most of my reaction with Georgia fans. Really, it has. Most Georgia fans I have ever met are like the nicest people, and they really are. What if you only lose to Bama? That's a great second season. 10-2 would be phenomenal. It sucks, but our season isn't over. Let's fix what we have and prepare for Ole Miss. Arkansas calling for Pittman's head. Idiots. Guy is going to find a better job and return. He's not leaving Arkansas, Jason. He's not leaving. College football is week-by-week game. Hogs have to put this game behind them, move forward, and keep getting better. Exactly. Where's that guy that keeps saying the D-line is elite? No, he only comes through when Arkansas has like a decent game. And then he tells me, hey, Ty, how about that defensive line? How about it? But to be fair, Georgia's just on another level, man. Hogs will been a Hog fan since '68. I've seen it all, good, bad. Hogs will be back. Fire Pittman. I'm just kidding, says Joe. It's like this, 2011, there are a couple of teams at the top, and really Georgia is the best team by far. Bama is lagging number 2 than everyone else. Don't need to be a prisoner of the moment. Get back to work. Exactly. We are right there in that group. What do you mean? What group? I wouldn't say that Arkansas – I wouldn't say that Arkansas is in the group of like Bama and Georgia. I think they're a little bit behind that group, but I do think they belong to be ranked. I think they're capable of bouncing back. I think they're capable of still having a respectable season, which I think going to a bowl game is respectable. Hell, I think they're above that. Again, I'm not waving for my 8-4. I'm sticking with it right now. We'll see where we're at. Next week will tell us a lot, and again, how you respond. So Sam and Barry are a whole lot better than Chad and the Chief, Ty. Right. I agree. I just said it looked similar to what we've seen in years past, but they are better than that. Pittman will get the recruits, and you guys will have a really good team. Is there still a chance of us going 3-1 down through this gauntlet? Yeah, I think so. I absolutely – I mean, I'm still optimistic. I know, again, today it's hard to be that way. You're mad, so everyone else should be as mad as you. Or then you have people on the other side of the fence like someone in chat earlier. You're right, Ty. We should just give up. It's not what I was saying at all. You need to let me finish my sentence. Be patient. Let me finish what I'm telling you. I think Arkansas is capable of – sure. I mean, why not? I wasn't really sold by what Auburn did last week. I don't know if that game brought them down to reality a little bit. Today definitely brought Arkansas back down to reality. It absolutely did, but it doesn't mean you don't belong in the AP top 25 if you're into that sort of thing. If you believe that the old top 25 is where you should be and that's it, like everything else is just a bust, I think you're still going to be there. I think you still belong there. But again, it's how you respond week to week, right? Mr. Tita with the $10 super chat. This game showed us that come a long ways from where we were. This game did, Tim. B, we've got a long ways to go. That I definitely agree with. C, we're not ready for a national championship run, but we're a couple of recruiting classes from it. Chin up. Yeah, I know, and hopefully, you batten down the hatches a little bit on the penalties and the mistakes. Special teams has got a long ways to go. Special teams, and I know you agree with that. Special teams is just not it's bad. But today it was all facets of the game. I mean, across the board. I'm so sad. I'm singing "Kissed by a Rose from Seal." I love that song, by the way. Na 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 na. If we went out conference beating Alabama puts us in the SEC championship. Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that. If the Hawks finish 8-4, 9-3, that's top 15 worthy with our schedule. It is. I agree. Of course, it depends on what people do around you. Arkansas is a good team despite the losses, J-Man. I think so too. And again, I think, and someone in Discord pointed this out, and it's a really good point. Today was just a difference between an elite, already established, not in the middle of a rebuild Georgia football team. Like, that team is established. Arkansas is still, like I said, it takes more than a year. It takes more than a year to rebuild a team, and they're still trying to get everything put together. And maybe they are a couple of classes away from being of that caliber of a team. Got to recruit a little bit. I mean, settling for top 25 recruiting. You ask Georgia what they think of that, or Alabama or Florida. Those fans will probably disagree, but it's obviously too. It's about the product, the final product. Recruiting only tells part of the story, right? In terms of stars, you got to develop them once you get them. I mean, we've seen like A&M in Texas. How loaded are those rosters? Those guys are nowhere near championship level. So there's more to it than that, right? Again, it's about the development. It's about the process, the quality of your staff, the buy-in from your team and the buy-in from your fans. You create environments like you did with Texas, and you have more environments like that week to week. Of course, that's hard to do. I mean, people show up for Texas down here in Arkansas for sure, but you have that kind of support inside and outside your program. God only knows what you're capable of. There's too much fan support. There's too much money. Arkansas has too much influence to not be competitive on a pretty high level every year. My God, Jerry Jones is an alumnus, right? You've got Walmart, Tyson, J.B. Hunt. I mean, you've got a plethora of recognizable names as alumni. And I know a lot of schools can say that, but how many schools can say the kind of support, financial support that this athletic program has? Not very many. Again, A&M, rich program, we know that. Texas, all those schools, yeah, sure. But when you talk about the complete, when you talk about the fan support, you talk about the alumni, you talk about where you're at in Fayetteville and Northwest Arkansas, like you feel like you should be, you ought to be in that conversation of higher than definitely where you've been, right? Under Bielema and Chad Morris. You felt like Petrino was taking you there. He was taking you back to where you belong in that conversation. Not saying national championship, but a team that maybe should be right on the outside looking in at a possible playoff berth in the next few years, right? I'm not saying that happens, but if we're talking about playoff expansion, which I think is imminent, I think it's coming. I think there's too much support for it. Arkansas should be that caliber of program. Let's say they stretched out to 12 games or 12 teams. Arkansas, with the support, the backing that they have, the influence they have, yeah, they should be on the out, at least right on the cusp, right on the outside looking in. I mean, also, we don't know how much they're going to expand. I mean, if it's up to these guys, if you talk to, Herb Street and some of these other guys, they'll tell you shouldn't expand. And if they do, they should only expand to 8. But I feel like 12 is kind of the number that everyone's circled in on. Now, to be near the top of the top, that's a hell of a climb. Maybe Arkansas will get there one day. I don't know. But right now, I'm focused on what they can do now and what they're capable of now. God only knows where you're at in the next couple of years. But I like what Sam Pittman's done so far. I think today is it's the first game this year where they just fell flat on their faces. Nobody wants to see that. 9-3. Georgia's game atmosphere is badass. Walmart $300 billion with a B company. They need to go drop the bag on some recruits. Folks need to show up to home games better than when it's not a game like Texas, but a non-scrub game, says Marcus. Sure, but I also don't blame people for not wanting to support, Chad Morris, supporting bad hires. Fans have very few resources when it comes to getting their voices heard, and one of those, it's speaking with your wallet, and that's just the truth of it. And not buying tickets. I have no problem with fans using that as a leverage, because that's the only leverage you have. You have no say in who they hire. You have no say in who they hire. You have no say in how they fill out their staffs and all this. Like, I think the only way a fan can speak is with their wallet, and I have no problem with. Sure, do I think you should go if you have the opportunity? Sure, but I don't have a problem with people speaking with their wallets. Social media is one thing, and that's become a pretty powerful tool. It has. But I think speaking with your wallets has a much larger impact. Hey, Eagle with the $5 super chat. This is nothing to hang a hat on. We aren't tier 1, but I genuinely believe, let's see. Can't see many other teams outside the top 5 compete with Georgia. Yeah, I don't know that anybody was scoring much on Georgia today. They're just playing great. Ole Miss got talent all over their campus. Yeah, but I wouldn't say like a Georgia or Bama or Florida. They're kind of right there with Arkansas. Like they're right there, when you talk about like developed product, developed talent on the field, I would say them and Arkansas are pretty damn close. Some might even say Arkansas has more. It's just that Ole Miss's offense, Matt Corral is having such a great year. That offense is just – their wheels are spinning, man. I mean, they're playing some great football. We meant hot girls. Oh. Man, I'm not even thinking about that right now. Man, I'm thinking about the game on the field. James Arnold wants no skepticism of all of his Hogs. He doesn't want to hear it. Jesus, give Pittman time. It's moving in the right direction. The well was dry when he got here. James, who are you talking to, man? You got to be talking to chat. To be honest, stars don't mean, oh, here we go. Guys, you got to come off that idea that stars don't matter, right? They tell a part of the story. They don't tell the whole story. They tell a pretty damn big part of the story. Nick Saban's not winning with a bunch of 2- and 3-star talent. Kirby Smart's not winning 10, 11 games a year with 2- and 3-star talent, right? They're winning with power. They're winning with the top-tier talent. Let's get off. I hear that so often. I had a guy stop me at Walmart one time and tell me, yeah, but I don't think stars are everything. Well, of course they're not everything, but they matter. Recruiting rankings don't tell the whole story. I mean, we've seen, again, Texas A&M, Texas are really good examples. You got to have all the other things, right? But we have to come off this idea like stars don't matter. That's absurd. I could develop talent with just 3 stars or less, says Crazy Hog. Dude, come on. Stars matter. They don't tell the whole story. You guys that deal in these absolutes, stats don't matter. What the hell are you talking about? Come on. You're lying your ass off if you don't think stars matter. They do. Georgia did not just give you an ass whooping with a walk-on from Atlanta or a walk-on from, like, I don't know. What's their equivalent of like Huntsville, Arkansas? Like they're winning with top-tier talent. You look at the playoffs. There's only been like an anomaly, like Washington, right? But I mean, that says a lot about coaching. But the vast majority of the teams that are in the 4-team playoff are typically top 5, top 8, year after year programs that recruit at that level. Sometimes you just have poor coaching, guys that just can't develop the talent. You have coaches that are just not good coaches. I mean, that could happen. You have all this talent in the world and you can't win with it. That speaks more about the staff than it does the players. And yeah, you get kids that are overrated. You do. I mean, that happens. Darius Winston here, number 2 corner, guy barely even made the field at Arkansas. It happens. Some guys just get overanalyzed. But again, stars do tell a part of the story. They don't tell the whole story. Yeah, stars matter. Okay, he says his autocorrect messed up. But you said you could win with 3 stars, though, Crazy Hawk. Come on. Don't pull out now. You're supposed to double down at this point. Do you think Sam will eventually get us a top 15 class? Well, I tell you what, there's 20 this next class that they're working on. They're off to a really good start. 2 4-star tight ends. Stars didn't matter until we signed Nick Smith, and it was celebrated all over the state. Yeah. Stars play a role, and they do. Now, again, there is such a thing as overrated players. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess the 5-star basketball player just signed in Arkansas is not big talent. Projected one and done, Nick Smith. I mean, obviously top 10 player in the country. Again, and he may not even perform. I remember, there's been guys that their first year they come on campus talking about basketball. They just didn't live up to it. B.J. Young comes to mind. B.J. Young, I know it gets a little complicated there, but he didn't really live up. I think he was a 5-star. Ole Miss and Bama are the only 2 games I see us losing. Every other game, and I would agree with that right now. Look, you may lose to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is Lane Kiffin has those guys rocking. They really do. They're doing really well, and they're going to be tough tests. They really are. I just wonder, where are they? Like, where does Georgia does Ole Miss belong on the same? Are they in the same tier as Georgia and Alabama? If they are, it's just it's going to be tough. But I don't think you play another. I don't think you play another Georgia in terms of what Georgia offers and what they are. I'm not saying Bama's not great. If we didn't just play the 2021 national champion, I'll be completely stunned, says Mike and Mary Hoggard. I think that's a very fine assessment. I really do. Georgia looks like they look like the best team in the country. Wasn't too thrilled with what I saw out of Bama. I know when they talking about Bama in Florida, I know they were down in the swamp. But I kind of watched them a little bit. They don't blow you away on the TV screen like they usually do. Still a great team. Wouldn't shock me at all if they go undefeated, which they probably will, or 11-1, 12-0, and go on to win the national title. Again, I'm not saying they won't. But right now, where we're at, based on the sample size that we have, Georgia, to me, looks like the best team in the country. It almost looks like you could argue it's like Georgia and maybe everybody else at this point. You know, and then you travel down the rabbit hole a little bit. Like, you look back at that Clemson game, like maybe that game was, you know, they've clearly corrected some things since then. I think that South Carolina game, some things woke up for them on offense. And ever since then, they've played really terrific football. I'm pissed we got shut out. Like, damn, even South Carolina and UAB scored. Yeah, I agree. I'm not too thrilled about that. I was getting fed up with flags in the first quarter. Yeah, 13. What was it? 13 flags, 101 yards or something. Where was it? I had it pulled up. 13 flags, 101 yards. You know, who knows what happens if you cut those mistakes in half? Maybe you get some points on the board. I don't know. Saban is 20th. Yeah, he's undefeated against his. That's right. He is. He is James Arnold. You are correct, sir. Georgia beats Alabama this year, no doubt, says Steve-O. I think Georgia and Bama, and then a big drop-off. That could be the case. We're going to find out a lot about Ole Miss today. We are. So, all right. This went about as expected. After a loss, some people overreacting, some people not letting me finish my sentence, getting super defensive over me even being slightly critical of the Razorbacks. You guys, sometimes you're a little too touchy. Gotta just tip your cap to Georgia. They were just clearly they're on another planet. They're on Mars, and we're like, I don't know. We're like Canada and their space program. Where's their space program at these days? Elon Musk, is he firing off rockets from Canada yet, or is he still launching them all down here? What's going on there? They're like SpaceX. They're like a billionaire program getting launched into space while NASA's losing money. They're doing a great job, and Arkansas just hopes that. I'm just kidding. Calm down. Just gotta get it figured out, and I think that's everybody. By the way, I think it's like everyone else is down here on Earth. That includes majority of the SEC. That includes all the other Power Fives, and it looks to me like Georgia way up there. So don't overreact. Sense of humor. Don't take everything so serious. We will be able to run against the Rebs, which will eat up the clock. Yeah, but that's not really their style, though, Brett. They like to that veer and shoot. They want to wear you down over time, but they're going to go high tempo, really fast. Their concern isn't eating up clock. Their concern is scoring and scoring quick and wearing you down. We played like shit. No excuses. Get pissed. Bring that wood next week. Hey, I'll take it. Get mad. Get angry. You're mad. Ruff. Get mad. Get angry. Go whoop some ass. That's what you got to do, right? Show Ole Miss that no. We look, no. We could beat you there too. We just bring it. They're an established program. We are not. Period, says John. Joe says, why don't you ever go to any games? I'm going to be honest, Joe. I have the best seat in the house. It's easier for me to analyze what I see from here at the house. It's easier to get to my computer right here. I've got my stats. I went to a game. I did a post-game show 2019 down in Little Rock. I went to when Arkansas laid an egg against a bad Mizzou team. I was there. I've been to plenty of games. Grew up going to a lot of games in Fayetteville and Little Rock, but doing what I do now, I prefer to be at home. I just do. I hate seeing our O lay down so easily. They did. Just ran into a buzzsaw today. But better than old urine? What? Games are better on TV, especially if you've been to a bunch. They just are. I want to support them and go. And every time, like when I go to any Razorback event, people like to talk to, and I love talking to people. I do. I like it when, if you want to talk the Razorbacks or what I expect to see or what, just where I'm at with things. And I don't mind that at all. And that's definitely not the reason. I had someone ask me, is that why you don't go to games? Because you hate being bothered? No, I don't mind that at all. I even with a mask on, people spot me. I mean, I can't, when you talk to a local populace, when you're talking about the Razorbacks, obviously I'm talking to people that are my neighbors, people on the other side of my neighbor, like they watch my show. They know who I am. That has nothing to do with it, by the way. I just don't go. I think I have the best seat in the house right here at home. I have the best angle. I've got replay right here in front of me. I'm able to get right here into the studio and go to work. So, yeah. That's why. That's kind of why I don't go. Not to say that I won't. I mean, I will. I want to go to I might make a game this year. And if I do, I'll do a walk. I'll do a walk and talk like Trey Biddy. So, all right. Anyways, we're over the hour mark. I appreciate you guys. Again, this went about as expected. No one's real happy about what happened today. Just on to Ole Miss. See how they respond. It's going to be tough. This is a tough gauntlet. It's going to be tough. See how Arkansas responds. Are you, the question being, does Arkansas belong in the top 25? You're going to find out in the next few weeks. So, talking about Jaws, by the way, our coordinator on special teams has had his chance. I've seen enough. Should have been 17 to 3.5. Well, I'm not going to put the missed field goal on him, but Sean, I agree. Special teams, the gaps every week are just – they're just expected, and that's disappointing. I get that I enjoyed going to games in my 20s, but honestly, now I'd much rather stay home. I love the environment there, Marcus. I do. I'd love to have been in Fayetteville with that Texas ass whooping. Would love to have seen that and been a part of that, but at the same time, I mean, I had everything I needed here and ready to go. Your walk and talk would be more like a sit and gasp, says Lance Russell. That's pretty funny. That's exactly how it would go. Before you go, thoughts on punter. Reed Bauer did pretty good today. He had 3 punts inside the 20. That block punt wasn't on him. It was just a missed assignment up front. Georgia wanted to block the punt, get in great field position. It turned out they got a touchdown out of it. So it's not special team. If it's not special teams, we'll mess up. It's how bad and will it cost us points? It's to a point where like just not making any mistakes or burning timeouts on special teams when they're on the field, like that's a good day. Like, yeah, kicking game has come a long ways. Punting game has come a long ways. Their coverage is pretty good. Their punt coverage is solid. Their kick coverage is decent. It's good. It's not terrible. They've not given up a touchdown on kick return yet. And their coverage is good. But it's like there's special teams is on the field how much? 15% of a game, and yet they're burning timeouts on fourth down because they don't have the right personnel or everybody out on the field. That happened multiple times last year. We've seen that happen now once or twice. We're missing assignments up front when we're trying to block for the punter. They're not kicking the ball off out of bounds this year on kickoff. Now they're kicking it out of the back of the end zone. That's great. That's the kind of improvement you want to see. You feel pretty good about Cam Little. Yeah, he missed a field goal today. That was tough. I'm not putting that on him. God, I'm not putting that on him. That's a tough situation to be in. And that crowd, are you kidding me? I'm not putting that. No. But all the other stuff that special teams got wrong today, yeah, I'm putting it on special teams. And it continues to be a problem, and they're not cleaning them up. I'm not saying to fire anybody, but again, like I said at the end of last year, if this continues through 2021 and special teams have not made adjustments through the season and they haven't gotten to a point where you don't hold your breath every time special teams is on the field, you need to reevaluate what you're doing there at the end of the season. I don't know what that means. That doesn't mean fire Fountain. Maybe that means you hire some new assistants for him. I don't know. But they need to reevaluate what they're doing on special teams. They need to reevaluate right now. Like, it's still, again, they're costing you points, they're costing you yardage, they're costing you field position, they're costing you all this stuff. Again, I'm happy that Little and Reed Bauer have done a great job. I'm happy the kickoffs aren't going out of bounds anymore. But like I would love to know how many teams have given up 2 punt blocks this year, combined with the timeouts that have been burned down on 4th down this year when the punt team was supposed to take the field, and how many flags our special teams. Like, I would love to know, bunch all those numbers up and compare them to the rest of the country. And where does Arkansas stand? I guarantee you they're one of the worst special teams on the field. It's like every week this happens. And you go like a week where you don't have any blunders and you're like, oh, my God, special teams was great today. Oh, my God. No, they weren't. They just did what they're supposed to do. I don't know. I know they like Fountain as a recruiter. I get it. Maybe that's his only responsibility. I don't know. There are some teams that do not have special teams coordinators. I don't know the percentage of those teams, but they do exist. Or I don't know. Like I said, you move him to just being a head of recruiting, right? Make him the lead recruiter, whatever you want to do. He'll help you out down in the Southeast. He'll help you in Georgia and the Florida area. And you put someone else in charge of special teams. I don't know, but I'm tired of them making mistakes every single week. I feel like I bitch about them every week. I feel like chat gripes about them every week. Rightfully so. And don't listen to the people that tell you to shut up. Don't listen to the people that are like, you bitch about it all the time. Yeah, well, something needs to happen. You can't tell me you're happy or satisfied with what's going on with special teams. Now, again, today wasn't just on special teams. I fully acknowledge that. Today was not fully on. It wasn't only the special teams. It was all phases of the game, man. It was offense, defense, special teams, the guys on the field, the play calling. It was all of it. It was not good. I would say it was definitely the worst we've seen this year, and one of the worst games under Sam Pittman. But we don't panic. We back away from the ledge. It's okay. Respond, play well next week and take it a week at a time. And I think Arkansas will be fine. Like I said, I still like them at 8-4. Number 87 needs to ride the bench. Arkansas recruiting is getting better. It is. I mean, they're top 25, which is great. Woo Pig Suey for life, y'all. Thanks for the live stream, Ty, even on a rough day. Appreciate it, Marcus. I know Georgia probably has the best defense in the country, but we didn't look like a top 10 team today. No, they didn't. You are correct, sir. I'm a Dogs fan. Love Sam Pittman. Arkansas is better, but recruiting has to get better to make a step change. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I mean, and it's about developing the product that you have. It's about developing the talent that you have. I remember when we had the biggest O-line in all of football, including the NFL. Hope we get back to that. SEC is top heavy with Alabama and Georgia. Well, I think majority of the SEC is pretty good. They are, to me right now, they look like, as usual, they look like the best conference of college football. You think Sam will build us an O-line here at Arkansas like the one he built at Georgia? I mean, that all comes down to recruiting, and they've got a couple of 4 stars in this class on the offensive line. I think he can get close to it. I mean, Alabama's just riddled with 5-star talent up and down. I mean, they probably have, I don't know, they've got some draft picks up there. I mean, that's just all there is to it. You got to get back to that. If you guys remember Houston Nutt could bring in some 2-3-star kid, turn him into a top 3 round draft pick. You know, I'd like to get back to that. You know, if you're going to have to settle for, and again, they can get 4 stars. They've proven that. They've done it. Sam Pittman did it when he was offensive line coach here. He did a good job evaluating and recruiting and developing. He really did. You know, I think he can get close to where they were at in terms of like what he did to Georgia. I think they can get close. I mean, we've proven that. Proven that we can have a big, dominant offensive line that can push you around. And I think these guys are not bad. I don't think we should give up on the offensive line they have now. They got to play better than they did today. Today was truly the first game where you scratch your head about what was going on in the line of scrimmage. Today was the first game, at least on the offensive line. Defensive line really played about what I expected. Like I wasn't so sure, you know, that they were going to be able to do a whole lot. JT Daniels, one of the least touched quarterbacks. Like the guy didn't get hit much, and he's a pocket passer, right? Like that's what he is. He's a pocket passer. Not a whole lot of sacks, you know. So 14-0, Bama's up. Alabama's eating the Ole Miss offense right now. And again, it might just be Alabama, Georgia, but to me, I still think Georgia, so far, based on who they've played, they to me look like the better team. I think Alabama's going to do what Alabama does against Ole Miss. I kind of wonder if Ole Miss was a little overrated. I don't know. Like I said earlier last week, like we're going to find out a lot about those two, and maybe Ole Miss is way overrated, or maybe they're right where they need to be. Maybe they're underrated. But we'll see. It looks like Alabama's off to a good start. So I know JT didn't play. I know. I'm saying he's played most of the season. You guys that come in late, I have to repeat this. JT Daniels didn't play, but he's a pocket passing quarterback, and he's not pressured often. He's not sacked often. Today, you had Stetson Bennett, who's more of a dual threat quarterback, a guy that can run around and escape pressure. And that's why I say today went about as I thought it would. That's the kind of quarterback he is. But it's impressive that with JT Daniels, who's a pocket he's a pocket passing kind of quarterback. It's impressive that he's only been sacked 3 times on the year, maybe 2 or 3 times. Rarely is he pressured, and rarely is he on the ground. So, and today you saw kind of how that unfolded. Honestly, I think we could have done better if JT did play. That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go watch this Alabama-Ole Miss game. I'm not rooting for anybody. I wish there was a way they could both lose. I do appreciate you guys. This is a tough one. But, again, we're going to get right back after it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 o'clock for the Semi-Daily Show here on the Pig Trail Network. I'm excited to start breaking down Ole Miss. We'll see. We'll kind of see where these two teams are at. Hopefully Arkansas got out of this unscathed in terms of injuries. I don't know. We saw some guys rotate. We know they like to do that on defense, but I don't know if you guys saw. We had Jalen St. Brown play in the fourth quarter. Of course, Millie Cornsby. We got to see some different guys up front. They got some reps. That's always important. You know, Georgia was rotating their 2s in as well, but it's good to get those younger guys. You just wish it wasn't under these circumstances. But hopefully that's because they're getting reps and not because people were injured. Again, we'll get all caught up to date on that and more on Monday's live show. 11 o'clock. Hope to see you there. Woo Pig, step away from the ledge. Crack open a cold beer. Remember, most of us here are friends. We're all Hog fans. I'm sure I pissed some people off. I fully expect to get some angry emails and comments later. But we're all Hog fans. Let's move on. Let's get to Ole Miss and enjoy the rest of the Saturday. There's some great games today. There's some good NFL games tomorrow. I'm hoping my Rams can go 4-0. They're going to have a tough test against Arizona. The NFC West is brutal. The NFC West is like the SEC compared to the rest of the NFL. So I'm hoping my Rams can get off to a 4-0 start, but and hopefully I can get a win in my fantasy team. I'm currently 1-2. So, yeah, Woo Pig. I'll see you guys Monday at 11 o'clock. Go Hogs. Oh, yeah, shout out to the sponsors as well. Sorry, I don't want to forget about them. Really quick, Stated Apparel, softest shirts, right? Got the logo down there. Made locally, softest shirts in the state. If you use Ty Rocks in all caps, you get an additional 10% off. Their merch is all there. You can check out their link provided for you down below. They're also in our Discord. Their link is provided in the Discord if that link in the description box doesn't work. So shout out to them. But if you're in the downtown Benton area, you can check out what they offer right there in store. Also, shout out to Direct Service Overhead. These guys will fix and or replace your garage door. Their website is also provided for you down below in the description box. They operate out of both Central Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas. So check out those links provided for you. And again, I will see you guys on Monday. Woo Pig, go Hogs. And don't get your ass whooped next week to Ole Miss, damn it.
At Direct